Okay, today we're going to re-fire harden Big Hump. Okay, Big Hump. It's a hop hornbeam bow that I made. And I picked a stave that you could see here had a big knot, and then the wood grain ran down. Okay, so it was not a level, straight stave. All right, and there really was, you really want to have a straight stave to work with before you tiller it. But this was the best I could do under the circumstances because of this up knot and then down tapered wood. All right, so what we're going to do is, I was honored, I posted the video, and Keith Shannon of Shannon Outdoors commented, and he said, he says, the reason why when I took this off the jig after fire hardened, the ends had a little spring back, it's because it wasn't cooked enough. And he said if I wanted to contact him, he'd be happy to share some information. I got to tell you, I was honored to talk to him. I talked to him for 2 hours on the phone. Okay, it was like talking to Fred Bear. You know what I mean? You know what Fred Bear did to archery, this advanced fire hardening is doing to self-bow making. Okay. And a lot of people say, well, fire hardening's been around for, years before this video. Primitive man, they heated their bows, but there's more of a science to it now. He perfected it. You're actually cooking the wood for a longer time. It's not like primitive day or just removing moisture. There's more to it. It's a science behind it, okay? We're going to discuss more of it. And he gave me permission to share what he talked about. So while the wood's cooking on, recooking on this, my grill, on my gutter system, we're going to discuss it more. We're going to discuss it further. But what I'd like to tell you is, I'm not a salesman. I'm not pushing anything. But when I find something that helps me learn, it's worth buying a book. It's worth buying a DVD, all right? If you go to Shannon Outdoors and buy this fire hardening video, okay, it will enlighten you, okay? It's worth the money to go and get this and play this and watch this, and it's going to change your thinking on how you make self bows. As you know, a lot of us were buying staves, right? There's only whitewood around here by me. And we've been buying staves like Osage staves from out west. And guys have been robbing us. One guy collected a bunch of money from all of us, $250, what they call premium staves. And when he got enough money, he disappeared. He stole the money from everybody, okay? Other staves are so knotty and twisted. Even you, right? I got some guy's second or third or fourth piece of wood that said had hardly any knots. It was riddled. I was so annoyed after I made it. I was going to cut it up. Then I said, let me play with it, recurve it. And I wound up cutting it up anyway, okay? Just disgusted. Well, this opens up a lot of doors to you now. Now you could go buy local wood or just go in the woods, get permission, go in the woods. Somebody's got a wood lot. And say, hey, can I harvest that tree? All kinds of whitewoods. Hickory's the best. There's hickory spotted here and there, Long Island. There's all kinds of woods that you can get a raw tree, split it, dry it, fire harden it, and have a shootable bow. And you don't have to worry about getting ripped off by anybody, okay? They say Osage is king. Well, yeah, okay. But hickory, in my opinion, is the best. I've only been doing this since December. It's the best wood I ever worked with. And now my friend's got hop hornbeam, and it's a very tough, hard wood, and I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping to make some really nice bows out of this. All right, so we're going to discuss this more. I just wanted to mention that I was honored, as far as like what Fred Bear did to archery, Keith Shannon's doing to self-bow making. And it really is, you really should look at this, the art and science of fire hardening. It's worth the money. I bought books from Clay Hayes. Gil is still on my list. I have to buy his book. I haven't got to get it, you know, from Primitive Archer. You know, you can never get enough knowledge. And the one thing I want to tell you is don't ever believe anything as it's gospel. All right? I want you to, if like me, I'm experimenting. Listen to what these experts say. Try it out. See if it works for you. See if it's correct. See if you think it's a little different or you're doing something different than they are. Okay, there's nothing that's really etched in stone here. But this, okay, this book here, not this book here, this DVD here really changed my thinking. It changed everything, all right, for me. So we'll talk more later. Right now, what I'm going to do is clamp this hop hornbeam down on this jig. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize, like hickory, when you clamp it down, you're able to just bend it down and clamp it to the board. This wood is so hard that I know it's unbelievable. Like Keith Shannon said, he didn't really make anything out of this hop hornbeam yet. But I have to heat it up with a heat gun. You know, I clamp it in the middle first and I work my way out. But I have to heat this up with a heat gun to get it to conform to the jig. Otherwise, I feel like I break it. It's just such a hard wood. I have to heat up the fibers to bend it. So I'm going to heat it up with the heat gun, starting at the fade out, down, and once it gets soft enough, I'm going to clamp it. And then we're going to go over to the fire hardening jig, my fire hardening system, you know, the gutter system. And then we're going to heat it up. And as we're heating it, we're going to have a big discussion on things I learned, okay? I hope it helps you. Okay, because I shaped the handle, okay, and I'm going to refire harden it. I got a thin piece of hickory that I'm going to use to put the clamp on for compression. I ran it underwater. I don't know if it makes a difference. I ran it under the sink for a while and dried it just so there's some moisture in this. And we're going to put it on a jig and I'm going to clamp it with this. Okay, I just want to show you what I'm dealing with again. This here, although the bottom of this limb is straight, as you go along what you call the back of the bow, this is the belly faces your belly. As you go along the back of the bow, there's that big hump. And what that was is a knot. That was like a big knot, okay, that was on the stave, okay? So you see the big gap. I'm going to try to heat it best I can to get it to go down. But that, when I was tillering it, it was made down. But that's the hinge, okay? That looks like a hinge. And actually does create a hinge, I guess. All right, you see it's a little thicker, but that didn't matter. So I'm going to heat it, try and make it flush. I'm going to see what we come up with after we fire harden it. Okay, it's really sunny out today, and as you all know, I had basal cell skin cancer on my back. I had it removed. Yesterday, after talking to Keith Shannon, I had the stitches removed. I actually felt good. I sat in the woods. Didn't get to see anything, but today I wanted to reheat, refire harden that hop hornbeam bow. So protect yourself, stay out of the sun. This was like 120 bucks I bought. You can get them anywheres, that tent, but I had to put the tent up to keep from getting sunburn, all right? No matter if you're a fisherman or whatever, put on sunscreen, wear a hat, you know. Protect yourself, all right? You don't want to get skin cancer, you know. I was lucky I had basal cells, so it wasn't the kind that was that severe, all right? Just giving you a little heads up. Okay. Hope you have time to sit and listen today. I have a lot to talk about, to discuss with you. And when I talk to Keith Shannon, he has that trough, you know, he makes a trough with cinder blocks and all. And I told him that I made this gutter because anybody could do it. You know, you could do it in your backyard and not have to worry about moving heavy cinder blocks, and I have disc damage and nerve damage. And he said what he liked about the blocks and the trough is that he was able to taper the coals up. And as you've seen in some of my videos, I actually put more coals on the end because of the taper of the jig. Okay. But what I did now is I'm adding a little more tin foil so the layer of coals won't be so thick. Actually save on some coals. Okay, you see I'm adding it there. And what I do in the middle here is I'm just going to crumble up some foil and lay it. So this way it's off the bottom and it gets air and it cooks a little better. So that's just one of the differences, because I do have disc damage and nerve damage, and that's why I use this setup. And I love it. You saw me clean up on my other videos. I just pinch it, rip it. I put the bag on the end, and I slide the whole thing, you know, I wait 2 days. So there's no hot coals and no fire. And I slide it into the old charcoal bag. It just cleans up by a push. It slides, and it's perfect, okay? So I put this hop hornbeam bow back on the jig to be hardened. And because I shaped the handle, I had a little piece of hickory, and I don't know if it's really going to matter. It's going to dry up in 2 seconds, but I soaked it in the water and just clamped it on so it wouldn't go on, you know, wouldn't go on fire. And the other thing is the outer ends of these limbs. All right, they really don't bend much because you don't want a whip tiller, and there's string grooves cut, and I don't want them to go on fire and burn off. So I got a spray bottle in the house with some water, and all I'm going to do is just put it on a fine stream and hit the ends. I just don't want this to catch. Okay, and that's an unorthodox thing. That's something I'm doing today. Just kind of as a preventative measure, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, I really don't know. But part of the fun of this self-bow primitive bow making is trial and error. And I was honored yesterday to talk to Keith Shannon, and he shared his information with me. And he gave me such a jump on the learning curve. It's amazing. All right. Some of the things he said, the light bulb went off in my head, and I went, oh, wow, yeah, that makes sense. All right. And we're going to discuss that today. But just want to show you about me tapering it. I'm going to get these coals going, and then we're going to sit down while it's cooking, and we're going to have a little talk. Hopefully you'll listen. Hopefully you'll learn. You know, if maybe there's something you want to add in the comments so I can learn, because I'm always learning. I'm 65 years old. I've only been doing this since December. I'm grateful for everybody's comments who puts in, you know, and you learn a lot, all right? So thank you. Okay, we're ready for the coals now. I have the foil crinkled up in the middle. I have it built up on the ends. And as you can see, there's the jig. Okay, you see how it goes up on the ends? All right, we're going to start. Okay, it usually takes about 10 or 15 minutes for these coals to catch. I have this high enough where we don't have to worry about the flames. And once it starts cooking, we're going to lower it. And like I said, we're going to do a little talking today. You may not agree with everything I say or what I was told, but you learn. Sometimes you learn by what you think is correct, and sometimes you learn when you think somebody's saying something that's not true. All right, but the best way to approach it is to try it yourself. Okay, try things yourself. Don't take anybody's word for anything. All right, well, these coals are catching. I just want to discuss a few things. I know people are going to say, well, fire hardening's been around before this video came out. And yes, actually, as a matter of fact, fire hardening's probably been around since caveman days, because they would take wood and put it near a fire to dry their wood. And maybe they realized, maybe they didn't, the more you dry it, the harder you cook it near the flame. You had a bow that maybe lasted longer. I don't know if there's a connection or not, but we all know that they dried bows next to fire, you know. So I want you to think of it this way. Way back in the day, when they had horse and wagons, they had the wooden wagon wheels. Well, now look how far we came today from a wagon wheel, right? They have winter tires, snow tires, they have bulletproof tires, run flats, okay? So the technology of the wheel, pulling carts and all, is there, but science and has brought it to another level. So yes, anybody could dry a bow next to fire. They leave it on a little longer. And yes, it dries a little better, maybe shoots a little better. But what Keith Shannon did, in my opinion, okay, this is my opinion, he brought the science out on it, the physics, about cooking it through the wood, halfway through the wood, changes the molecular structure, the cellular level of the wood, and it makes it shoot a faster, harder bow. It actually increases the bow weight, increases the bow weight, and it's a good thing. All right, you're able to get a tree that's growing in your backyard and cut it and make a stave. And the only thing I do that's different than he does is when I go to put these woods on the backset jig, I use a heat gun to get it to conform, whether you can bend it or not, to conform to the backset jig. And by doing that, you can get, like you saw on this hop hornbeam on my other video, one of those staves was like 40-something% moisture. But after I take the time and I use the heat gun, like 15 minutes each side, then maybe I'll do another 15 minutes, you know, it's down to 5% or less with the heat gun. Getting it to, I start at the middle and I heat it up and I get it to bend and conform to the jig by moving it out. All right. So they say that fire hardening, to prevent cracks and all, your wood should be like 8%, or under 10% should be like 8%. So that's the only thing that I add on, is I always heat treat with a heat gun to shape it, okay? So, like I said, on one of my videos, Keith Shannon commented and said, if you'd like to discuss it with me, you know, contact me. And I was honored that he would share his knowledge. And we talked on the phone for 2 hours. And if you looked at my table, I had, you know, those pasty notes. I had like 15 pasty notes on my table, trying to get information. And then what I told him was, I said, listen, I says, you know, he likes to pass it on. He likes to share it. He likes to see more people do this. You know, it's like me teaching archery. I got so many people into traditional archery shooting. You know, I love teaching people traditional archery. This year, I'll probably be helping the 4-H kids again teach archery. And I believe you should pass your knowledge. And he's the same way. All right. To me, he's an icon like Fred Bear. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, you know, but when it comes to fire hardening, all right, he made hundreds and hundreds of bows. He's been through so much trial and error that he's kind of got it perfected, okay? And I got a lot of notes, and he said he would allow me to share the information with you, and that's what we're going to do today. Once I get those coals a little bit better, I'm going to drop this down, and we're going to talk about what we discussed yesterday. But I highly recommend that you buy his fire hardening video on Shannon Outdoors. Like I showed you in the beginning of the video, I have one. And I was excited when I got done watching that video to know that in the past I've been getting ripped off by people buying premium staves that some guy in his backyard said, yes, I'll cut that crooked tree down, split it, and I'll sell it to some schmuck in New York for $250 with shipping, you know. And, you know, so I've been that route. So now I can take my time, I get permission, or friends, I have friends that have property upstate New York, and they walk their property, and they'll pick a nice tree, and they'll cut a couple of logs, we'll split them, we'll make staves, I'll help them make bows. You know, it's a wonderful thing to be able to take whitewoods now that are local in your area and split them and be able to make them from a live tree to a shootable bow. All right. That's why I'm so excited about this. That's why I want to share this with you. That's why I suggest that you get the DVD. On another note, I love everybody's videos. I have all Clay Hayes. I watched all Clay Hayes' videos. I have his book, Brian Gill, The Primitive Archer. I got to buy his book. All right, it's been on the back of my head to buy his book, and I haven't bought it yet. I'm going to buy that book maybe tonight when I get back from hunting. I'm hoping I get done. I'm able to sit out in the woods just for a couple hours, you know, and I'm going to buy his book. There's another guy, too, that there's quite a few people that has videos, and you always learn something from everybody, all right? And if you see some guy making something and it don't work out or it's wrong, sometimes you learn more by their mistakes. That's why I put my videos up. Some are right, some are wrong. Maybe you'll learn because I did something wrong, okay? All right, so this is going to get dropped down now. Enough of that talking, and we're going to discuss actually what he talked about. Okay, the goal is to get this wood evenly browned from end to end, okay? And yes, sometimes you get a little jarring. You can't really help it. But how he determines, how Keith Shannon determines, is the hand test. If you put your hand under here and you go 1, 2, 3, ouch, you know, it's too hot. That's the right height. So if I put my hand under here now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ouch. Okay, it's still a little high. So I can lower this down one more notch. Okay. One, oh, palm up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Now, the other thing is, you see where the riser is, right? The riser is always lower. So now that you have it over the coals and you're looking at it, okay, move some of these coals away from the riser. Just have a couple on the bottom, okay? Just a couple. You want to lower it. You kind of want to make this height to the coals, this height to the coals, so you knock the coals out of the way. Okay? Let's see how it is on the end. 1, 2, 3. I could add some more coals, okay? And then what I want to do here is while we have this is that 1, 2, 3. That's it. I got a thermometer. We're going to just see what it is. 1, 2, 3. I don't know if this is going to work the way I wanted it to work. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Goes up to like 102. I don't know if this is accurate because it takes a while to get to the temperature, and the longer you leave it over the coals, the more it's going to cook. So see, I tried something. I tried the theory of maybe we could use a thermometer, but it don't work that way because the temperature don't go up that fast. Okay, so here we go with this one. 1, 2, 3. It don't move. But if I stick it in the coals, it'll be over 300 degrees, all right? So that idea just went out the window. But like I said, you got to experiment and try things, okay? So the hand test, it is. See, that's what I mean. You got years of experimentation, trial and error, and the hand test is the thing that he came up with that actually works. Okay, I'm going to add more coals and get them to fit the hand test. Get back to you. Okay, so I'm not the smartest person in the world, and I'm always learning. I love tinkering. I love this hobby. I'm obsessed with making bows. So I take notes. So like I said, there was pasty notes all over the table. So we're just going to go over a couple of things. You always try to get the stave as straight as you can, okay? With the exception of this one here had humps and stuff. This is big hump. And the goal is to get, when you fire harden, a dark brown, the whole length of the bow, dark brown. And the heat must be a constant, okay? It must be consistent throughout the length of the bow, okay? And believe it or not, like you see me try with the thermometer or whatever, the back of the hand test, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, see those coals they got to catch. Once they catch, that'll be like this. 1, 2. Yeah, yeah. It's hot, okay? 1, 2. 1, 2. The end over here is hot, okay? So that seems to work, okay? Now everybody's hands different, sensitivity's different. You obviously don't want to burn your hand. You know, it's common sense here. You just put it in until it gets to the point where it's hot. Nobody's saying that you should do any harm to your skin or tissue in your hands. It's just a feeling that, okay, it's at the point now where I don't want to hold it there, okay? So let's not misinterpret that or do anything stupid or have somebody say, oh, I burnt my hand. Well, if you burnt your hand, you're an idiot because you didn't pull it out when it got too hot. All right? Let's just use common sense. And sadly, if you don't have common sense, then don't do this method, all right? And we're going to look at the height. Roughly, the height is probably around 6 inches, okay? Later on, I'll get the tape measure out and we'll actually measure it to see. But that's about 6 inches. The other thing was, I was under the impression that it takes 2 hours to fire harden. And I want you to take that 2-hour mark and throw it out the window. Okay, because you want to just keep fire hardening until the wood is brown. Okay, a dark brown throughout the hole. Some wood might be faster, some wood might be slower, but that's the goal. You check it every 10 minutes. Check it every 10 minutes. If you want to check it more, that's okay. Check it more. Okay? You don't want to burn it. The idea isn't to scorch the wood. The idea is to cook it through and get the whole wood brown. All right? So let's see what else I got here. Okay. Sometimes wood that has, let's say, a 10% moisture, okay, will cook faster than a 13% wood. And the time varies. It could be a half an hour more for that 3%. Okay? So just know the more moisture content, the longer it takes to fire harden these bows. Okay? And let's see. Woods with a lighter gravity or lighter density will cook faster. And he gave some examples, okay? We'll use like the standard, the king of woods, they say, all right, Osage is like 80, all right, on a chart, on a gravity chart. Hickory is like 60, 65. Elm is 50. So elm will cook faster than hickory. Lighter, faster, and the heavier density will cook longer. Okay, that's just the way it is. All right, that's something that, you know, we can learn from. Like, get a little jump on his learning curve by somebody who knows. Okay, in colder temperatures, because I asked him, like, you know, he's down south, I'm up here in the north. You know, we have cold days, 30 degrees, 20 degrees. He says colder temperatures require a thicker layer of cold. And because you have the thicker layer of cold, you have a more heat coming out than a thin layer that kind of dissipates. So more coals, more even heat. You know, like I said, if I made it thicker, obviously I'd raise it and do that hand test even in 20-degree weather, let's say, all right? I hate the cold. You'll never see me out here in 20-degree weather. But I'm just using that because, you know, I want to share what I learned, okay? The inner limbs need more hardening than the outer limbs, okay? Usually like 50%, 35% in the mid, and the ends are only 15, okay? Because you don't want to whip tiller, all right? But usually how that works out is the inner limbs, by the fades, all right, require like a little bit more heat or a little more hardening. We want to make sure it's even all the way through. Okay, but you want to make sure that when you get it, you don't want it heavy on the end and light by the fades. You want to make sure it's either even or a little heavier by the fades and lighter at the tips, okay? And the other day when I unclamped this bow, I had springback, and I looked at the color, and the color was not brown. I mean, I had it on for 2 hours, and the ends I put for another 40 minutes, and it wasn't brown. And when I had that little bit of springback, on this, Keith had commented on my YouTube video that you had springback because it wasn't fire hardened. And in the back of my head, I'm looking at it, I says, it's not the color like the hickory bows I have. It's light. So I says, but I gave it 2 hours and then 40 minutes on the tip. So what I learned is throw that time out the window. Okay? There is no time. Make sure you have, if you're doing this, you have the whole afternoon to play around with it, okay? Or a whole morning to play around with this. And it's not a time thing. It's not a set time. Just keep on going until it's brown throughout the whole wood, okay? And if you have any springback, you didn't cook it enough, all right? This is the only bow that I unclamped with this hop hornbeam that I had springback. Now, now Keith said he never used hop hornbeam. He never tried it. But it makes sense. That's it. That's the reason. So we have to cook this particular wood that, by the way, this had a lot of moisture in it, more than normal, longer. So that's what we're doing now. So let's see what else we get. As you heat it up, you'll see sometimes the end smokes because there's steam coming out the end. There's a difference between steam and smoke. If you see the limbs starting to smoke, raise it up, because wood combusts at around 300 degrees, I guess, depending on the moisture content, okay? But as a number, you want to put a number on it, 300 degrees wood combust, okay? So you see smoke, bring it up a little, check it. Maybe you have to go a little higher and a little longer, okay? Okay, now I also talked to him about my friend's Jack. If you look at Jack's recurve he made, I said to Jack, Jack, you got a 30-inch draw. I said, you got at least a 30-inch draw. I says, we got to make a little longer bow. But he wanted to make a 68. I said, all right, we'll go for it. I says, I'll have to really take my time tillering and try to get the limbs to bend, which is what I should do with every bow, really, to be honest. I shouldn't rush it. This I kind of rushed. I because I had in the back of my head, I wanted to go sit out in the woods too. All right, which I should never do. You know what I mean? I should never rush any of these things. All right, so with Jack's bow, it shoots great. He took a bear hunting, and he noticed he's got like 1 inch or 2 of string follow. So I talked to him, and I said, he's got a little bit of string follow. I said, I think we made a bow a little shorter than we should have, but that's what he wanted. Is that normal? And he says, yes. He says, when you make a little shorter bow, he says that at a higher weight bow, he says a shorter bow with a longer draw, sometimes, and it's acceptable, you could get 1 or 2 inches of like string follow, okay? And there's a formula he gave me. Okay, this is the formula that I'm going to share with you. Okay, the bow length, how to come up with a bow length for you, is 2 times the draw, okay? So, and then add the handle length, all right? So if you have a 8-inch handle or riser, okay, add 2 inches. So we're going to give you an example now. My draw is 26.5. All right, so double that's 53. If I add an 8-inch handle, it's a 60-inch bow, and then add 2 inches, and that's 62. And that's the minimum bow length. And from what I found through my own learning, okay, is that really is the shortest bow I could use. And you know how I know that? Because I wanted a shorter bow for a blind. So I took a 62-inch bow and I made it 58 inches shorter. And because I made it shorter, I pulled it back and it didn't have the energy because it's a hunk of wood. We're dealing with a hunk of wood. There's no fiberglass laminates to spring back, okay? So that 58-inch bow, what I wound up doing was I took off the finish, I recurved the limbs, and I made a youth bow, a short youth bow, because at 58 inches, that bow was useless to me because it lost so much energy. And what he explained to me too is that these longer bows, actually you have a proper bow, a longer bow, it shoots better. And that's obvious from what I found out. It shoots better. All right, let's see if there's anything else I got to cover here. All right, so like we said, what we do when we're fire hardening, we actually change the molecular structure, hydrophobic, than the original state. It shoots faster. It's physics. It's really physics, okay? The whole thing is physics, all right? How the limbs bend, everything, all right? But that formula for the bow length, the color, browning throughout, the hand test seems to work. You can't use a thermometer. It just don't work. You could probably use a tape measure, but that will change with the temperature of the weather, okay? It'll change with the temperature of the weather. So be smart about it. Don't burn your hand. There, I burnt my hand because of that dumb advice. No, just put it in. 1, 2. Okay, I can't stand it no more. No harm, no burn, no nothing. All right. So, like I said, if you can't figure that out, don't do it. Okay. Is there anything I missed? The only really variations on the height and all, obviously, is just the type of wood. Denser wood, lighter wood, okay? And I'm trying to see if there's anything else. We talked so much. There's so much I missed, okay? But see if there's anything else here. We talked about the colder temperatures require more thicker coals, okay? I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about. So, I felt honored to have him to be able to talk to me and give me advice, okay? I felt honored because he's a pioneer with this. People say, oh, a pioneer, they've been doing it for primitive time. No. He perfected it. He perfected it. He went through so much trial and error. You know, it changes everything. And like I said, for me, it's a blessing. It's a blessing not to get ripped off anymore by these guys with the wood that you buy, okay? It's a blessing to go out and no matter what it is, okay? I don't care if it's a white oak tree, right? And make a stave out of it and fire harden it, and you got a shootable bow in a couple of days after you tiller it, okay? It's a blessing, all right? So I just wanted to share this. He's a great guy. I'm honored to have spoken with him, and I want you to buy that DVD. You buy that I bought that DVD. I told him, you know, this sounds crazy, but when you get into something like this crazy hobby of making bows, I said, I bought you a DVD, and after watching that DVD, I couldn't sleep all night. I wanted to go in the woods and cut down a tree because I got ripped off so much and got so much crappy wood from people that I wanted to go cut a tree in the woods and make a bow. All right? I got really excited. So enough talk. All right? Sorry. I had to say what I had to say. I hope you're not too bored. But Keith Shannon, like I said, is a great guy. Buy his video. And education is a good thing. All right? Like I said, I love Clay Hayes' videos. Okay? I'm going to buy Ryan Gill's book. Okay, another guy. This young man, I love his videos. Kramer. Kramer is an unbelievable bowyer. I just love all his videos, okay? Because he experiments. trial and error and what could happen with this if I make this wood, or what happens if we recurve this, or you got to watch Kramer's videos too, okay? Because I kind of feel like I have a connection with this guy, Kramer, because I like to tinker and experiment, and I love it so much. And you can tell he loves archery and he loves being a bowyer. And you got to watch his videos too, okay? There's actually nobody you shouldn't watch. You should watch everybody's videos, because you pick a little something from each person, and you're going to be a better bowyer for it, all right? And if you watch some of my videos and I have failures, you say, well, I'm not going to do that. But I post them for a reason, so it'll help you. You won't do it, right? All right. God bless all of you. We're going to cook this, and I'm done talking for the day, man. I'll show you when it's done, all right? Because you see me till it before. We'll pick it up, and we'll do a little checking on it to see what it looks like, and I'll just keep you updated, all right? And then I'll show you on the tiller. We'll finish this out. You'll see me finish this on the video. Okay, so like I said, we're not going to use time as a finish time, but every so often, check it every 10, 15 minutes. Okay, Keith says every 10 minutes, check it, you know, to see how the progress is. And every half hour, I wind up knocking ashes off and adding coals. Okay, and then once again, we can recheck this here. 1, 2, it's a little hot. I'm going to go up a little higher now. Okay. 2, 3. I'm going to go a little higher here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and right in the middle. Okay, so that's it. All right, you see, and I just raised that because it was too hot by my hand touch. All right, be smart. I don't want to hear anything, you know, if you burn yourself, you know, that's your own fault, right? I'm sorry. All right, have somebody there maybe help you and let them, you know, do this with you so you don't get hurt. Okay, so there we go. Because I was editing this video and on the phone while I was cooking, I actually had to raise it up, add coals, reignite the coals, because the fire went out to an unacceptable level. The coals went out and I knocked the ashes off. And like I said, there's no real time, but it's 20 after 12. It's been going for almost an hour, and it's not really that brown color. Okay, we'll see if I can go down. We can take a little look. Okay, let's see if we can see that. I don't know if you can see it or not. We're going to put it up again, and in about 20 minutes, I'm going to put it up. You can take a look at the bottom. Okay, and by the way, the bottom is the belly, and the belly always faces your belly. So we'll check it in about a half hour and see what's up. Okay, I said this before, fireplace gloves. These thick fireplace gloves are a must for safety. And the other thing is a stick to knock the ashes around so you can add coals. Knock the ashes off and add coals. Okay, going to move it up and take a look. And we're going to tighten up the clamps again when I put it back down. I'll show you when I put it back down. Okay, let's take a look. And then when I put it down, I'm going to tighten up the clamps. Okay, look, it's getting better. You see, we see a little browning here. A little less browning there. It's really light. It's not that dark brown we want. Yeah, we're getting a little bit. We're getting some. Okay, the end has to go more here. Maybe we'll throw a little more coals on the ends. Okay, so let me put it back down to cook some more, and I'm going to show you how I bet the clamps get tightened more. Coals, okay, I did that 1, 2, 3 test, but you got to watch. When these coals catch, it's going to produce more heat, and I'll have to raise it back up again. But let's see the clamps. Oh, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 3 half turns. 3 half turns on this one. The riser was like 2 turns, 2 full turns. It is unbelievable that even though this was heat treated, fire hardened, then heat treated again and fire hardened again, the moisture that comes out of this wood, okay? I see this gap here. Let me see, I'm going to move this clamp down a little bit. You know what, I'm going to move all these clamps over a little bit just so the fire hardening will color up the spots where the clamps are. For no other reason, than to get the spots a little, different spots there heated up. This, I have a board here. Just going to move it over a little bit. Retighten it. Move it over a little bit. Every clamp I'm moving over a little bit because there'll be a white spot under there. And we're just going to move it over. And let that area get heat directly. I know it goes all around it and it'll be cooked and it'll be fine, but you know, just doing it. Doing it to it. Why? Just because I feel like it. Alrighty. Okay, that's too hot by that riser. The coals are starting to catch. We got to move it up a little bit. Okay. Back of the hand. Okay, it's getting there. Okay. The test works. Please don't burn your hands. Okay, we're going to let it go. It's 1:45. We're not watching the time. We're watching the color. That's what changed. The only thing we watch the time for is to check it like every 10 minutes and make sure every half hour we knock it around. We add some coals, knock the ashes off, okay? So I'm going to let it go some more. Okay, it's 1 o'clock. I knocked some ashes around. I checked the color. The clamps are kind of stabilized. They're not turning now. This one turned a little bit. Yeah, some of them turn. I'm glad this one's turning here where the hump is. Okay. So we got more coals. We're going to check it. We're going to do that test. Palm up. When it catches, it'll be fine. Just know when you add coals, after they catch, you're going to notice the difference. You know, you put your hand underneath and you go 1, 2, okay, that's the temperature. Right now, it's a little lacking, but once they catch, it's going to be fine. Okay, I lowered another notch, and the middle section there by the riser to the midsection, the heat is where it's supposed to be, and those 2 end sections there, the outer ends, they're heating up. They're going to catch up. Yeah, like I said, the time really doesn't matter, but it's 20 after 1, and we're going to raise it up and check it out. Okay. This side's a lot better. This side needs a little bit more. And I'm going to stop this here and I'll show you on the video. Okay, check it out. This is the right side. It's getting that nice browning, see? And then over here, even though we're getting that browning, it's a little lighter, okay? And I'm checking out because, like you said, you should have more browning by these fade outs here. So I'm going to knock some ashes off, and we're going to make sure that this one gets down a little bit more. Okay, you see I lowered it a little bit, and I did the hand heat test, and it's getting the heat now. I just got to watch by the fade outs. Now there's hardly any coals underneath that handle, but by the fade outs, I want to cook the fade outs, so I got to watch it. I don't want it to go on fire. Bambo Joe's getting really high tech here. A lot of the times when I talk and I walk away, you don't hear me. It's muffled. So it wasn't a lot of money. I got these speakers, you know, they're a microphone and something I can't show you. It plugs into the my cell phone, and you can hear me more clearly. All right, so we're going high tech here, man, for like under 50 bucks. And you know, if I'm going to do this, you might as well hear what I got to say. You know, sometimes you don't want to hear it, but when you do want to hear it, you should hear what I'm saying. So that's it. And like I said, we're not really watching time. It's 25 after 1 or so, but we're watching the color. We're going by the color. We're not going by the time. All right, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I actually changed the angle a little bit for a little more heat on that left side. All right, I'm able to do that with all these screws I have in these wooden stanchions that I use to support it. And we're going to probably check it. You know, like I said, time don't matter really. We want that brown, but we're going to check it in like 1:45. That'll be like 15 minutes or so. Yeah, like I said, we're going for that color, that brown color. We're not really going for time. So we got that brown color. All right, what a difference, right? We even got it over here on this side too. Okay. If you look at the very end over here, it's got color, but not as much. But the heat was going on it, okay? And rather than burn this to get that last part, like I've heard, you know, it's stiff anyway. It's going to be. I'm going to call it done. I'm going to call this done. Okay. Now we're going to look at the time. It's 1:45. We started around 11. 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2. So it was 2 hours and 45 minutes. This has been cooking, and this is the second time I'm cooking this. All right, we cooked it yesterday for another 2.5 hours, this hop hornbeam. So I'm going to put it on the table. We'll talk a couple more minutes, and this will be, and then I'll post another video of me tillering it. Okay, so it's 10 to 2. Check out this color. All right. And what we're going to do is, I'm very happy with this, and we're going to let it cool while I clean up. It's going to take me a while to clean up, and we want this to be really cool before we take off the clamps and see what we got. So this is the second time this bow has been fire hardened. And this time, it remained like the form. It remained the shape of the form. Okay, so let's check it out. Let's look at the color. It didn't really get this color on the end, but the heat got to it. Okay, you see, got the fade outs, got it. You see the color. Okay, let me look at it. There's no splitting, but we got that dark brown color. Okay, let's see what the back set looks like. Okay, check out that back set. Okay, fire hardened for the second time. I guess the second time is a charm. I'm going to put it in the house. I always put them in the house after fire hardening, and I let them acclimate to the moisture content in a room. Let them acclimate to the environment, and then I'll tiller it tomorrow. I'll retiller it tomorrow and see what it looks like. Unless I have things to do, and then it'll be a little longer. But I just want to thank everybody that posts these videos. There's too many people to list, all right? But I appreciate Keith Shannon taking the time to reach out to me to share his knowledge to make me produce a better bow, okay? And allowing me to share what he told me with others. And hopefully this helps, okay? There's too many people to list, okay, of who post videos. And I'm going to buy their books. You know, if I don't have their books, I have Clay Hayes' books. You know, Primitive Archer, I'm going to buy his book. I'll probably buy it later tonight. And there's just so many people that post these videos that do exceptional work, and I learned so much from. Okay, so that's really it. I like Kramer's videos too. Got to mention Kramer because he's always experimenting and tinkering, and you know, I love that. All right, so that's it. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Watch all my other videos on Bareboat Joe. You never know what I'm going to post. And I do appreciate when people give me some positive feedback or tell me what I'm doing wrong to correct me. All right, and I'm grateful. I'm really, truly grateful. All right, thank you everyone so much. Every day you wake up is a good day. Make the best of it. Get out and shoot.